Okay, and we're live again. I apologize for the last video that ended abruptly at 10:03 minutes in. Literally, I spoke for nearly 59 minutes, and I have 10 minutes to show for it. Apparently, my restream failed miserably, and I could go back and repost the video and edit it, but I'm just going to come live again. Those of you who watched that first 10 minutes, we're going to go do a redo here with the information you missed. Again, this is the Tomsic Analysis. I'm David Tomsic. It's April 18th, 2024. I just got done with a failed restream video, and maybe this will work out better. I'm just using OBS this time. We're just going to go with that. It hasn't failed me yet. Listen, please like, subscribe, and share. As I said before, we're here because truth matters. And picking up where I kind of left off, and for those of you that didn't watch the 10 minutes that were on, I did put that on private. It's hard to figure out after 10 minutes what I would have been talking about. But I'm here to tell you that what we were going over is the fact that we can't find truth in America. Now, I'm guessing you can't find truth in the Western world either. Europe, I know England doesn't tell anybody the truth. And what I'm saying, what we're being lied to about is everything. The wars that are now taking place, the economy that's in a shambles in most of the Western countries and here in the United States, with just about everything we're told is a lie. Now keep in mind, since the Nazis created the propaganda ministry back in World War II, and I'm sure everybody had their own versions of this, but the Nazis took it to a different level. I think it was George Goebbels says that you tell a lie enough, people start believing it's true. And that's what we've done here. And the reason is, and again, this is a little bit of digression here, folks. The reason is because people want to believe the lie. Now, I know you're saying, why would anybody want to believe a lie, David? Well, because it's more fitting to us than the truth. We cling to it because we don't want to know the truth. It hurts. We worry. We'll be fearful. Okay? We don't want to know what's going to happen, that we may lose our jobs, that the country might collapse financially, militarily, that the Great Reset that's already going on will succeed. Excuse me, and will basically reset capitalism, revamp capitalism, even in it all out, making everybody on the same plane. Well, most countries compared to the United States are down here. We're here. So guess what that means? We have to be pulled down, and this has to be pulled up. That's being done as we speak. The masterful work done by our politicians and the elites who prodded them along, these politicians who've let our country slip into chaos, let our country slip into financial ruin, into debt, nearly $35 trillion worth of debt, just in federal debt. Those that allowed this, and it's been generational, those presidents that allowed this, and we know who they are sitting fat and happy on big bank accounts. Meanwhile, we're here having to face the fact that we're in trouble. But again, I say we, those of us that know what is going on, are facing it. Okay? So most people have that normalcy bias. We don't want to deal with anything that's not outside our belief system, what we're willing to believe and understand. It's the cognitive dissonance world of they have the truth, we have a lie, but the lie is more comfortable than the truth, so we'll avoid knowing the truth. See, and I digress in saying that we love to go out to our dinners and our parties and of course NFL football. Wow, next Thursday, a week from now, the NFL football draft is being held in Detroit, I believe. Millions of people will watch that. And they'll get into their team's draft choices and what can happen. the trades after which, the whole hype that goes with the NFL. And we got basketball playoffs coming up, hockey playoffs coming up. There's no shortage of entertainment, or should I say distraction. The world is nearly at war. I'll rephrase that. The world is at war. We're closing in on a nuclear war, and no one seems to worry about it. Joe Biden will handle it, or Donald Trump will handle it, or the Congress will handle it. The mouth breathers in Congress, the ones that sold you up the river, those guys. So listen, we've got these two wars, and the Russia-Ukraine war, and now it's Israel, Gaza, Iran war. And it really comes down to Israel-Iran now. And in the background, there's always the possibility of the war with China. Now keep in mind, and I'll digress a little more, America was the top dog since 1991. I mean, we've always been a powerful nation, but since 1991, what happened? The Russian, or should I say the Soviet Empire, the Soviet system collapsed in 1991. Remember old Ronald Reagan? Take that wall down, Mr. Gorbachev. We're heroes. We somehow caused that. Well, that's mostly folklore, but I digress there as well. And of course, the plan here in the United States was that we would never allow another country to rise to superpower status to challenge our hegemony in this world. The Wolfowitz Doctrine, it's called. Look it up. We would never allow another country or countries to equal our authority, our power. Guess what? We have a rules-based order. Well, guess who makes the rules? Well, it's the United States. Now, this, of course, is done at the anger of most nations of the world that have to put up with it. Yeah, they're nice to us, and we go shake their hands, but most of them want to get out from under this system. The dollar system, our control of everything, threats and overthrows, and all the things we've done over the years that has led us to be a pariah in this world now, more than a peacemaker. I haven't seen us make peace with anybody. In fact, we've promoted all these wars and have given the weapons for people to fight them. Like we did in Afghanistan. Oh, yeah, we're going to win there. Bad guys everywhere. Bad guys. They're bad guys. And then we just left and dropped off, was $1 billion worth of equipment? Just left it there. They won't know how to figure out how to use it. Are we that stupid? Here we go again. They think you're stupid. And they tell you that to your face. Every time they get in front of a camera, they tell you that to your face. The truth is we're already at war with these countries, all of them, with Iran, with China, and with Russia. We're just not winning any of them. Now, I know you're going to argue over that. We're not winning in Ukraine. Matter of fact, Ukraine's getting their rear ends handed to them. Sadly, they're being dismantled in pretty steady fashion. Every day, the Russians make more and more gains. More and more defensive positions are destroyed. More and more Ukrainians are dead. All because America couldn't go to the negotiating table. We forced this war on Russia. We did. Since the 2014 coup, the Maidan coup, the revolution that we overthrew, we were behind the overthrow of the president at that time of Ukraine to install one of our people, those who would agree with us and lead Ukraine towards NATO and the United States, the West. Since then, there's been war in that region since 2014. But when NATO wanted to move closer to the Russian border with taking Ukraine into NATO and thus putting missile defense systems and American troops and bases in Ukraine, that line was drawn. You had war, and I don't blame them. because we would do the same thing. You see, this is the problem with the rules-based order, and it goes with what's happened in Israel and in the Middle East. We force things to go our way, and when you fight back, you're the bad guy. We're going to get you. We're going to do what we want, but you're not allowed to question us because we're America. We're the exceptional people, the exceptional nation. Now, in Israel and in Iran, it's the same thing. Neither are right. I don't like any of these people. Oh, you're supposed to love Israel. Well, as a Christian, I love the idea of what God's going to do with Israel in Revelation. They're going to get messed up, but God has a plan. See, he does. That's the scripture. That's what we're looking at as Christians. We can't look back and say they have to kill everybody to take over all the land because that's their land. Well, a lot happened in between that. If anybody missed it, Jesus was born. He has a new covenant, and they were supposed to be a part of it. They rejected him, yada, yada, yada. So guess what? I don't want to make excuses for Israel anymore. You can't bomb playgrounds, which they just did, killing children, droning and killing people in ambulances, going to help people. And of course, recently, and of course, just the merciless bombing of buildings in Gaza where children and women were staying. Now that's a true story. Don't go, no. Don't tell me that's not true, because it is. Everybody knows it. And we know it. We just refuse to admit it. That's my point. You won't hear the truth here. You won't hear the truth about Ukraine. Secretary Austin comes out and lies to Congress. Yeah, we're winning. We're going to do this. Yeah. America, we're winning. And everybody believes it. No one questions him with counter information. Listen, everybody else that I contact around the world, which I have and found out, and now it's coming out even in Western press in many ways, it's coming out, the truth. Why can't news people say and confront them and say, wait a minute, they're not winning. They're not going to win. No one believes it. Even our own analysts in this country and ex-CIA people from all walks of life said there's no way they're going to win this war. Why don't you just tell us the truth? Because you want to spend more money there so you can get richer, the defense industry can get richer, you can keep pushing your campaign to overthrow Putin and Russia? We don't care about your global politics. They had no threat. We had no threat from them here in the United States. That's enough for me. We can't even defend our own borders. We're defending someone else's with billions while veterans sit on the streets homeless. Children sit on the street homeless. Drugs are out of control. Cities are collapsing. The economy's collapsing, and you're spending money on these wishful thinking wars that we're going to still control the world and get our own way and be the exceptional people. And let me be honest with you. That exceptional people doesn't include me and you. Those that use that phrase, the exceptional people, think it's the country, it's us. It's not. It's the elites, it's the political class, it's the class of people that actually are behind cameras like Fox and CNN. Those are the elites. Those are the people who they're talking about. Me and you are useless eaters, as Prince Charles once said. No, King Charles. So don't get me started with his baloney and saying, oh, that's not, it's true. It's the same in Israel and Iran. Israel bombs an embassy? Who does that? It's against every form of international law. Everyone agrees. We won't. We won't say, hey, listen, that's against international law. That should have been, I don't care. We're not an ally of Israel. Remember, we're not an ally. See, an ally is someone that reciprocates. We don't. We don't get anything from them. We only get, we give them weapons. We're not technically an ally by any legal standard. So don't give me that, first of all. We should have told them right off the bat, that's a war crime. In spite of what you're doing in Gaza, destroying buildings, that's a war crime. We got to stop the nonsense. Yeah, you were attacked. But measure your response back. So Iran attacked Israel. And it's a big deal now. And all of a sudden, no one wants to talk about why they're doing it as a tit for tat. Obviously, when you're attacked, the way this works is if you don't respond, your own people are going to turn on you. So they had to respond. In my understanding and the understanding of many other analysts and people within that diplomatic grouping, said that there was conversations through channels between the United States and Iran. Go ahead, you do your strike back. Let us know where and when, and you'll be able to calm your people down who want revenge over the bombing of the embassy and the killing of those people within that embassy in Syria. Now, everybody's now making the claims that Israel destroyed every single 99% of the incoming missiles. That's not really true. The plan was they sent very slow-moving drones, 3.5 hours. Everybody knew they were coming on purpose. They sent slow-moving ballistic missiles, and they used multiple types of rockets. But behind the scenes, they fired hypersonic, high-speed missiles as well. Those weren't shot down. Iran was going to get some payback, and they did. They destroyed a couple of air bases, and my understanding is the building that housed the planning group that carried out the attacks on the embassy. So the truth is that they did shoot down a lot of these incoming missiles and drones, but they got what they needed to get through, and they could have did more damage if they wanted to. Here's the thing. They also knew that the cost to Iran of what they sent was pretty inexpensive. The cost for Israel to defend against those missiles and drones is $1.5 billion. The United States has to now give them more missiles, defensive missiles, to replenish what they had. Well, I guess that's going to cost us $1.5 billion. And we don't have unlimited supplies. This is what's happening in Ukraine. We can't supply Ukraine anymore because we have unlimited supplies of all this stuff. We don't produce it fast enough. We don't have a war economy. We don't have the production capacity, the tooling capacity. We can't match what China and Russia can build. We can't do it. So we're funding 2 wars now, plus our own stuff. So this is a cost. This took a toll on Israel. Israel's also taken a toll on their own economy with this war. And it's sad because they refuse to back down. Now, I understand the whole story. Believe me, I know. As a Christian, I know the story. And we don't want to see Israel attacked or anything of that nature. But again, as Christians, and I do consider myself a Christian, the teachings of Jesus would not tell you to go kill 30,000 people if they killed 5 or 10 or 100 or 2,000 of yours. And I think it was 1,700. There was different numbers I heard with the initial attack on October 7th. But again, it's a different philosophy in Israel. They don't have the same values of how we fight a war. They believe you kill everybody, get rid of everybody. Now, the problem with that is you may get away with that for a while, but the rest of the world, and this is where I'm heading, we may not know the truth of what really is happening. You may not know what happened with Iran and this back channel, take it easy on Israel this time. Get your slice of revenge, but let's not escalate to a point where they'll want to escalate more, trying to keep it copacetic. You may not know that. You may not know the truth because everybody's out there saying what they've heard from the State Department, from the news media, from these sources that are just so far off the beaten path or bought and paid for by the people who run it all that they're going to tell you what you want to hear and what they want you to hear. They're not going to tell you the truth. I just told you the truth. You may not like it, but now you know the truth. Consider yourself served. So that's my point, is nobody really knows this stuff because they don't want you to know the truth. Because you see, if you find out the truth, you're a sympathizer with the other side. You're bought and paid for by Putin or by the people in Iran. You're evil. You should be arrested and thrown out and all these things they say. But you know what? Truth is truth. Because truth matters. That's the Thompson analysis tagline. Because truth matters. And why does it matter? Because you can be in a war, a big war, that our pride and joys, our sons and daughters, our national treasure, be sent up into these wars as cannon fodder. You see, this isn't Afghanistan or Iraq. And that was a tough, for fight in many places in Iraq, but you're not dealing with the same militaries in this case as you did in Iraq or Afghanistan. If you're fighting Russia and China and even Iran, you're dealing with major, major high-tech militaries with huge armies and technology, missiles. China and Russia both have massive numbers of nuclear weapons. Nobody has more than Russia. New high-end ones, hypersonic missiles. Why do you want to go down that road? How, it's like the elephant in the fighting the mouse. The mouse wants to stand up to the elephant. Well, I'm not saying that these people are that much better than us. I'm saying that you're not going to have an easy time. And people are going to get killed on both sides. And our people, for no good reason, are going to be sent into the front lines. And it'll be 10 times, 1,000 times, 100,000 times the casualties you had in Iraq and Afghanistan. You send full armies together. This is crazy. Okay, so we have China. We have the problem with China because we don't know how far we'll push China. China's going to be the quintessential top of the food chain when it comes to economies and a lot of things. I mean, they just are bigger than us in every way known to man. So it's very difficult to compete. They're now part of a bigger economic bloc than we are. See, we're part of the Western Alliance. We're part of NATO. We're part of the European Union. That Western bloc, the European Union bloc, is smaller, number-wise, GDP-wise, and in a lot of other ways now, than the BRICS nations block of economically connected groups. Okay, it's basically Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and now I believe Iran and Saudi Arabia are in that, I believe, and 84 other nations want to be involved. And India already is one of the biggest countries in the world, one of the biggest populations with a huge GDP. They will only grow. So this grouping is massive. They're going to dwarf us in a few years. So we're no longer the quintessential power couple, the power group. European Union and the U.S. is no longer there. We're already losing our hegemony, which we're fighting so hard to hold on to here in America. Not for you and me. They're not fighting for you and me, fighting for themselves. See, there's money to be made. There's power to be held. The elites and their little puppets below them. You can't tell me that there's not money being made on this Ukraine war here in America. Not by you and me. We're paying the bill. Or we're just borrowing the bill. You don't think congressmen are making big money? Yeah, they are. Your people that you think are cool, we're great. Hey, it's my buddy. Voting for him. Why do you think they go in making a salary A and come out with being a billionaire, millionaire, multimillionaire? How do you think that happens? You going to go into your job at McDonald's and become out a millionaire? Well, not very often. It seems to happen a lot in Congress. You see, that's because they're bought and paid for. Lobbies of every kind. There's Ukrainian lobbies, Israeli lobbies. The biggest one's Israel. And they put a lot of money into campaigns here in the United States. These places do. And why do you think that we're still involved? Do you think we would have been? You think if it was common sense and it was brains, we'd be doing that? No. Okay, so, I'll tell you a story about a politician. I have to get this in. I have here in Pennsylvania, southwestern Pennsylvania, here in Pittsburgh, the Steel City, one of our congressmen is Bob Casey. And he's been on TV because he's up for election in November. He's a Democrat, and he's making some waves against Bidenomics. Now, Bidenomics is a disaster, although you talk to the wrong people, you're finding out it's the greatest economic system in the universe. I don't know how you even go there, but he's saying that he's going after big corporations who are gouging Americans. hurting our budgets. Our middle-class American budgets are being gouged by these big corporations. Now, what we find out when you look a little deeper is he's investigating since 2023. Having been in corporate America, big companies, Sony, BAE, Warner, Time Warner, I can tell you that they're going to tell him which exit to take. They're going to charge you what they want to charge you. But let's take a step out of that. He's blaming them. See, this is his way of also giving cover to the Biden administration in an indirect way, a back door, so to speak. How is that? Oh, well, see, it isn't the government's fault that there's inflation. It's these companies that just want to take advantage of people. Listen, it was the government alone that created inflation. The Federal Reserve wants 2% right off the bat. Why? Our 2% goal. See, they want inflation because that increases the value of goods that rich people hold, like assets, big assets, land and planes and diamonds, and go down the list. Stocks, oh my. Since 2008, stocks has been straight up because we've allowed the Fed to put money into the market, beef it up, makes the rich people richer. Transfer of wealth, right? So where does this go? Where do we go with this? Well, when it comes down to it, Bob Casey is giving Biden administration a little out here in a way, taking the blame off of him. Yeah, Bidenomics, but it's the big corporations' fault. Well, Trump and Joe Biden both approved billions of dollars to be pushed into the economy, to shut down the economy, to give people money to go buy things. I did videos on this, many of them. And I can tell you that it's very easy to see that when you give people money with zero production, making something valuable, you work 10 hours in the farm and I give you $1,000. It's a production for the money. But when you don't have any production, just give people money and they go out and clean the TV shelves off in Walmart, you're having too much money chasing too few things to buy. Right off the bat, that started inflation. And of course, you've been having the Federal Reserve, our friends in the Eccles building in Washington, D.C., and Jerome Powell and his favorite nemesis woman, little Miss what's her name? Janet Yellen. That's right. Yeah, they're not nemesis. She was the former Federal Reserve chairman. But you have these two people, and she's a loser. You have these two people running the Federal Reserve, pounding money into the markets like it was cotton candy. Keeping the money so thick in the United States that you can't walk 10 yards without seeing somebody have to buy something because they got too much money. Not anymore. But we pounded people with money. We flooded the people with liquidity. All they could do was go out and buy. All of us did. And now, fuel prices have reared their ugly head again, as I predicted. Here in southwestern Pennsylvania, we do have taxes on our fuel, higher taxes. And my local Sheetz, where I go and have my coffee every day, $3.89. And because I have a Sheetz card, I get 3 cents off. And there's other deals you can get from places. We do. But $3.89? Let this war heat up in the Middle East a little more. Let Israel respond, which they're planning to do, my understanding, to respond to Iran's response. So response to response to response. This is called the escalatory escalator. Okay? If they do, you watch fuel prices go up. I'm told by a few analysts that the price of a barrel of oil could be up to $130 a barrel by summer. This would probably place the average here in Pennsylvania, the average price per gallon of gas, probably around $6. You want to talk an economy crushing blow to people who now are telling me, because they know I do these podcasts, Dave, I didn't want to say this before, but I'm coming home a week with me and my wife and a small baby, 9-month-old baby, $300 a month. $300 a week, I'm sorry, in food. And the cart isn't even full. I hear that all the time. It's okay as long as you can find a way to pay it. Of course, if you go to Walmart, I'm going to digress here. Right next to the cash register, they have a loan station. You can take a loan out to pay for your Walmart purchases, your groceries. How healthy is that for an economy? Huh? Can you tell me? See, we have pandering politicians that don't care. They're mouth breathers that find a way around everything for themselves. Meanwhile, they have the best health insurance. They can get insider trading. They can do anything they want. And sometimes they get caught and there's a hearing and nothing happens. They always have hearings. How about the hearings? I'm going to digress onto that. Bob Casey's going to have hearings and do an investigation on big. That's all they ever do. See, it sounds good on Fox News or CNN or CNBC when they show you a picture of somebody getting grilled. And you go online on YouTube and you'll find these nutbag political activists, I call them, that just love the political system and their buddy. And we're going to get you. And they show a video of somebody grilling a person that's come up for a hearing. Grilling him. Joe Bo, whatever his name is, grills Liza Minnelli, whatever her name is. Now, of course, those fake names I'm using here. But my point is, what happens after that? Joe Kennedy, I remember he grilled these people. Why are you doing? And nothing's ever done because you see, it's just their way of venting. Just look at it this way. They vent. They don't like something, they'll vent. And maybe they do like it and they're going to vent anyway because you want to hear it. I don't know. How do I know? They're liars to begin with, so what do I believe? But the thing is, it's all a show. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a vaudeville act. It's kabuki theater. And you folks out there will pull up that video and show it to somebody. Look at Joe Kennedy drilling this guy. Did you see you drill this guy? Listen, it means nothing. That guy's going to go back to his big job, and nothing ever comes of anything. Nothing ever does. And meanwhile, our economy and our world pushes us farther and farther into like oblivion. Old Joe, he's going to investigate. So these people have lied to us from the beginning. They're all liars. Go back to Nazi Germany. I mean, that was the best propaganda people in the world. They wrote the book on propaganda. And Goebbels made a statement once, and you've heard this. He said, if you tell people a lie long enough, they start believing it as truth. What do you think's happened here? America's great. We're the best. People are really great. Everybody wants to come here. They're coming here by the millions, uninvited. You're watching, and I got to go with this. You're witnessing the destruction of the United States in real time. And you're being lied to about it. Everything's fine. It's okay. Don't worry. This is the U.S. We're the exceptional people. Well, we are up here at the top. But you mouth breathers down there and you useless eaters, you'll get the crumbs we give you. Okay? Do what we say, not as we do. Now, to make sense, you must realize that the destruction we're witnessing is not due to incompetence. A lot of people use this. I hear people talk about Biden. Oh, he's incompetent. He's senile. Even on some really good news programs that I watch. Oh, he's senile. Who cares? Why do you care? Because it doesn't matter. He's not running it anyway. Yeah, he has opinions on it. Yeah, he's a warmonger. Yeah, he's been a liar for decades. Yeah, he's corrupt. There's no doubt about any of these things. And yeah, he is unconscious most of the time. But don't play that game with me by making an excuse to say, oh, yeah, it's because of Biden. And the next guy, Trump's going to do better. Really? I don't know. See, I'm a political atheist. Why? Because I don't trust any of them. You think Trump's a great candidate? No. All the guys in the pickup trucks with the guns on the back, the flags. Listen, dude, I got my guns and I love my country, but I'm telling you the truth about my country. There's nobody that can fix it coming in on some white horse. It's not going to happen. Make tweaks? Yeah, there can be tweaks. But the arc is the same way. It's heading down. Because this empire is expiring. No matter what Donald Trump or any other guy comes in to do, this empire is expiring. And it's the reasons I mentioned. Because there's another block of nations that are now growing in strength that's going to overcome and overtake the things that we think make us great. Militarily, they'll be stronger. Economically, they'll be stronger. Number of people, they'll be stronger. Technology, they're already way ahead of the game in many of these countries. India, Iran, Iran, should I say, China, Russia, way ahead of us in a lot of things. We found that out during this war. Okay? But for those of you that think, they really care, they're part of the rubber stamp of the destruction of this country, whether they like it or not, and maybe whether they know it or not. Our politicians are all involved. And this is what their legacy is. Listen to this. What do they really want then? See, this is what they want. This is what the elites want. The people below the elites, those that follow the elites around trying to kiss their rear ends, the people, the Hollywood types, all the demonic people in Hollywood and the music industry, the people you see behind the cameras, these nutcases that scream at people as they walk by because they have a cross on or a Christian shirt. These are the people that we're dealing with here. And this is what they want. They want our border wide open, and it is. They want cities consumed with crime, and they are. They want our economy to fail. It's failing. Homelessness, poverty, drug addiction, skyrocketing at exponential rates. You don't hear about that either, do you? They won't tell you the truth. They want to destroy the nuclear family. They're well on their way there. They want harmful drugs on the streets. They want to destroy our food supply. And there is issues with food supply, not just in this country, but in Europe as well, and now a drought in Africa. They want to fight endless wars using our national treasure as cannon fodder, as I mentioned before. And they had no heart in thinking that it's a problem to send people to war when we don't need to go to war. When we're in these conflicts, that there's nobody declaring a war. Nobody. And we're going to go fight because we want our way. So we're going to send troops. And then when someone fires at them, oh man, you're firing an American troop in somebody else's country. Listen, and we're in Iraq, get out of Iraq. They voted, I think, 3 times, the Iraqi legislature, I think it was their legislature, for the Americans to get out of their country. We won't leave. So then they get fired upon by these groups, and we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. See, this is the double standard we live by in the West. This is my problem. Hey, listen, if you're going to do it, at least tell me the truth. We don't want to leave because we want to keep getting the oil there. Well, at least you told me the truth, and that's why they're there. Every Middle Eastern conflict was about the status quo, oil, and the petrodollar. And that's now coming under fire, no pun intended, because Saudi Arabia is part of the BRICS now. And that petrodollar system's collapsing because other people are not going to use the petrodollar. As we go further into this, less and less people will have reserve dollars to use. They will back out of it as much as they can. Not completely. They can't for now. But it's heading that way, which will mean inflation in our country will continue to rise. And that's a whole nother video. The Americans, it says they want Americans to be destitute and uninformed. I should have put uninformed and destitute because people are uninformed because they're not told the truth. And when they are, they don't want to know it. They have destroyed our way of life, our values, our society. Our way of living is crumbling around us. Our faith, our Christian heritage, under attack every day. So where do we go from here? Can you tell me? Can somebody tell me where we go from here? Can someone tell me how Donald Trump or anybody else can fix this? Because I know you people out there think this is something fixable. Well, you can put another wall around the border, try to. But guess what? They still find a way over. I've watched video after video of how they get to come in with the wall. We'll put guards there. Will we? See, this is the problem. See, the problem is that we're not going to do that. To have permanent station members of who? How many do you need to secure that big of a border? And they're coming in from the north as well. They're flying in. They're coming in on boats. Both ports, all the ports, excuse me, they're flooding into this country. And the reason is our buddies, the elites and those politicians and all these academic people that are trying to destroy the United States as it is, trying to destroy capitalism, our republic. They know the best way is to flood it with millions and millions and millions of illegal aliens, immigrants, whatever you want to call them. Excuse me. And I mentioned this in my previous videos, that this was a plan since 1965. It's part of a plan. It's written down. It was talked about. It was laid out. It's not a conspiracy. Don't start talking to me about conspiracies, because you're going to lose that battle with me. I was talking about and looking into conspiracies before some of you were born. And I can tell you that most of them are pretty accurate. So where do we go, folks? Listen, before I go on here, please like, subscribe, and share. Watch these videos to the end. This is pretty close to the end. We're trying to grow this channel, and I have changed some things so that I can do just that. But without you people, without people sharing, without people going out and saying, hey, watch Dave's video. Listen, I just want to see people watch. I want to see people understand and learn. I want people to let me know if they have questions. Listen, you can comment, and you can also just email me at David_truthmatters@yahoo.com. It's David_truthmatters@yahoo.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear. If you have a question, concern, if you disagree, excuse me, let me know. Because we're here to do just that. See, we believe, and this is everybody involved with this channel, we believe that without truth, you have nothing. I mean, let's go. Scripture says, Jesus says himself, the truth will set you free. You can't just limit that to thinking he just meant his truth in Scripture. That applies to everything because it's a universal idea. Jesus knew this. He was the truth. Once you knew him and you understood him, it did set you free. It set me free. An addendum to that is that when we understand the truth around us, when we understand the truth about what's happening in our world, flat out, you have an understanding of where the world is heading. You can be prepared for what's going. You may not be able to be like a billionaire, have a bunker in some indiscreet location, some part of the world that has everything stocked and it's 50 meters underground. You may not have that, but you might be able to avoid some issues if you have some food, water, way to protect yourself. You know what I'm talking about, and learn how to do that. You also need to have a plan if you need to get out of your home, if you need to get out of the city. You folks that live in cities, you got the most problem. Hard to get out of a city when there's, in regular times. I was just in Pittsburgh last week, and the bathtub they call where the wharf is down at the point flooded. And of course, there was one lane, and it was 7 o'clock, and people were backed up all the way to the east of the city. I was able, because I know the city very well, I was able to go into another bridge, and it got me home. But when there's a disaster, when there's an issue, when there's a war, if there's a blackout, if there's a cyber attack, what do? Have a plan. Know where your family is. Have a plan to get together, where to meet, multiple places. If it's not here, we're here. Way to get there, bicycles, walking, what the path you need to take. Don't just use your phone. Have maps. People know how to use maps. I grew up using a map, so it's important. If you can't, listen, 3-4 weeks ago, there was a problem with the AT&T network. Does anybody remember that? The whole thing went down. People stormed these AT&T stores, stormed them, yelling at the clerks, saying it's your fault. Make that work. I mean, these people, this is how dumb America is. And I'm sorry, dumb. That's another way of saying mouth breathers. Dumb. That clerk's going to turn the network back on because they couldn't get their emails and text. Well, guess what? Whatever job you have, in the big scheme of things, I'm sorry, not that important. Unless you're saving lives in a hospital, you can be disconnected for an hour or two. And if your boss has a problem with that, then maybe you shouldn't be working for the idiot. Okay? This is the thing. Everybody's important. Whatever they think they have to do at that time is the most important thing in the world. They'll step over you. Right down the street from where I live, I was at a stoplight. And I'm not a guy that likes stoplights. There's always sort of a crowd there. But it was just me and a guy behind me. He's beeping. It's a red light, a major intersection. Beeping at me. Then he pulls around, goes through the intersection. Cars. He had to get somewhere. Why? He pulled around on a railroad tracks, middle town, 4-way, big intersection, fairly big for a small town. And he was in a hurry he was upset. Exceptional. We're exceptional people. You know, we're too privileged in this country. We expect to have our way all the time. And so when you're dealing with, being prepared, you either are or you're not. Don't expect your neighbor to help you out. I hate to say it. If they've stored a couple of extra food for their family, and they have enough for their family, excuse me again, do you really think they're going to give it to you? In fact, depending on who the neighbor is, you might get a rifle stuck in your face. I know people that literally, and I've said this before on this channel, they went out and did buy some extra food, and their husband, the woman did, and the husband ended up eating it, using it instead of having that as the emergency, go out to the store and ate it, don't have any now. See, now if you go buy food, you're paying 4 times what it was 2-3 years ago when I started talking about this. Hey, be ready. Understand, learn, listen. Don't be stubborn. It's easy to be stubborn. Believe me, the Bible tells you to be ready. You had the people with the lamps, virgins with the lamps. The ones that didn't have any oil, they didn't have any backup oil. They had to leave. They were left out. No one was going to give them any extra oil, and they didn't. They didn't get, excuse me, allergy season. They just had enough for themselves. That's scriptural. That's not being mean. That's just, guess what? You were forewarned. Read the signs. Notice there's an issue. That cyber attack, that AT&T downage was a cyber attack as far as I'm concerned. Getting back to that, it was a cyber attack. And they can do that to anything and everything anytime they want. I watched The Last of Us. I believe that was the name of the movie, the one that Obama produced and was involved in. It's interesting because that gives you a tip of a guy who knows what's going to happen. He does. He knows what's going to happen. And he knew that the cyber attack is probably one of the things that we will be used against us. And they can do it very easily. We fall into chaos because, you see, we can't watch our shows. We can't get the information and the scores, and we can't text back and forth at the gym, sitting at the same machine at the gym for 30 minutes, texting back and forth. It says, don't You have your cell phones out, people texting because they can't help themselves because you see their minds are so small they can't have to stay occupied or they'll lose themselves. I digress. They lose themselves, and all of a sudden there's an issue. There's a war. There's a blackout. There's a weather event. There's things happening crazy all over this country. We had an earthquake in New York, New Jersey. There was an earthquake in time. I mean, this is the time to worry. You're close to a world war. There's crazy weather anomaly, crazy geological issues happening. And you have clueless people. Now, those rich people and those people that we just talked about, they all have places they're going to go hide. Me and you don't. But you got to have a way to protect yourself. What's coming is bad. A storm is coming. It's there now. It's over the horizon. It's coming quickly. And those people that are paid to keep you in line, to keep you subdued, to keep you believing everything's okay, those people, they're not going to be there for you. They'll have colored bars up and down saying the network's down, or they'll play a rerun of Gilligan's Island while they're heading for their protective places, while they're leaving town, while they're getting out of the city, and you're stuck there in a traffic jam. So people, listen. I hope you continue to watch this channel, the Thompson Analysis. Why? Because truth matters. We're on YouTube and Facebook. I'm going to be on Patreon and Brighteon really soon. This video may end up on there. YouTube has kind of nailed us a little bit. Nothing serious. We didn't get any strikes, but the algorithm doesn't like what I say. I'm here to tell you that. So you see, I need you to watch the video, to get it out to your friends, get them to get it out to their friends. Because we have a message. And I'm sorry to say it's not a message that's going to powder your butt. It's going to make you feel good. I'm trying to get the truth sometimes hurts in this case. And we've been lied to for so long about so many things. It's time to take back the truth, at least know. And yes, I will vote. For those of you wondering, even though I'm a political atheist, I will vote. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, it's going to be tough for me to go into the voting booth. It's a sham. Our election system, our process is a sham today. It's for the rich and by the rich. And as they all get richer and we all get poorer, you get angry. But God is still in control. This beast system we're in, this system of control, this system that will eventually lead to an antichrist, and I believe that, this system of control and checks and balances and privacy monitoring and spying on everybody and this new wokeism, destroying our values and morals, all this is only going to get worse. We've allowed that cat out of the bag. We've opened Pandora's box. There's no closing it. When we as Christians had a chance years ago to put this in the mud, nip this in the bud, as they always said, to stop it, we didn't. We just joined in. Churches across the country just joined in. It's all okay. We'll accept everything. Guess what the Bible tells us? And I'll leave you with this. Jesus says, they hated me. They're going to hate you. See, but we want Jesus to agree with everything we want to do, whatever it is. There's no problem with sin or corruption or anything. Everybody's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Join in. Come on in at the party. But see, that didn't happen. They killed Jesus. They hated him. They hated his truth for sure. And his truth is truth. So they're going to hate those who stand up to evil. They're going to hate those that want the truth, that proclaim the truth. And I find that out on this channel. But I'm going to still come out here and do it. Ashley and I are going to have another video. We kind of boffed one I did yesterday, or Tuesday, should I say. The conversation with Ashley and David. Going to try to redo that one. We're going to be on the air. We're going to give you some tips on how to do things. We're going to give you some tips on what's happening, and we're going to give you some tips about the spiritual warfare that we're in. And we're going to go down some information on that as well in future broadcasts. So please stay tuned. Again, like, subscribe, and share. It's all the time I have today. God bless you. I love you people. Please don't hesitate to contact me via comments or, of course, Tomsic_truthmatters@yahoo.com. Get in touch with me. Again, share everything you can. Be careful. Be ready. God bless you. And I'll see you next time. Where? Right here on the Tomsic Analysis.